Okay. Let's try something. Now we're not sure how it is working, so I will try here. I'll do a SMTP test with this guy and I'll see how it responds. Just support DHL, so I don't know why it's doing like this. Let's try again. Okay, so I just put a wrong IP host name and it accepted it. So then I will say mail from Well, the Telnet, the issue, the problem is if you make a typing mistake, there's a problem here. So I have to type it again. Now, see, very interesting that I'm getting the protocol errors. So we'll just stop again. Let's check again how this works on this one.
Welcome to Global Information Security Society for Professionals of Pakistan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is a recorded session on email security. The idea is to make email security simplified for everybody. This is lesson 1. We will try to do as many lessons as I can. So inshallah, let's see, we'll get started. The agenda is what is email security, why email security is required, how, and just a small slide on how email works. What are the email protocols? What are the email codes? And what are the key terms used in email security? What are SMTP response codes? Then we will also talk about email-related DNS records. Then I will show you a typical email scenario, so you can understand the TCP language, the SMTP language, and then we'll have a small demonstration of to check for DNS records of any company or any organization. What is email security? Now, email security is a very generic word. Now, we're not talking about now email security actually applies to both to humans and to the organizations. Here, we're talking about kind of both, but mostly we're talking about the organization level. So, email security can be defined as a use of various techniques to keep the sensitive information in email communications and accounts secure. Now, because companies they exchange emails with each other every day, so and if they do not use email security techniques, if they do not employ email, then what will happen that the users will get a lot of emails which will be junk, which will be like so like for example, if a company has no email security at all, so what will happen once they start receiving email, after a while, maybe a couple of weeks, the user will start getting a lot of junk email, a lot of spam email, a lot of malicious emails. So all of that will cause a lot of problem for the business users because they will have to spend a lot of time in filtering the emails themselves. So in order to give them a good user experience, a company is responsible to provide a good email security solution so that the users do not have to worry about these things and they can focus on business. And just to understand email security, we have to understand how email works and what are the different elements that comprise of an email system. Let's go to the next one. Why it is required? Because in these days, maybe like if 10, 15, 20 years ago, maybe it was not that much, but now email is the main commonly most companies, they rely heavily on emails. Even if you buy something from any online website, they communicate to you with email, and they keep sending you different emails for different stages of the order, like the invoice, like the order received, order delivered, order shipped for delivery. And once you receive the order, they also send you an email to get your feedback. Also, because email is heavily used, so it's the most common vector which is used to attack any enterprise. Most of the companies, there are many companies which only rely on email for many of these things, and they exchange. Even the banks, for example, the banks communicate with each other using email systems, and millions, and sometimes they even use email to have to discuss about all different big orders of millions of reals and millions of dollars and all that. And it's a common thing. So most banks, organizations, every kind of companies are heavily depending on the email to get that things done. Now, if for any organization, if you stop their email for one day, they may have a big loss because they will have no other way to communicate with other organizations. Telephone calls, or this is not feasible anymore. Email, and why email security is so important? Because email is a common entry point for attackers. For any organization, they have multiple common entry points, which could be USB, using the end machine, or an email, or web. Somebody going to an internet and downloading something. So there are a couple of entry points, but email is the most common. And this is used by many attackers as their first priority attack vector. Here's a small slide. I took it from a website. You can see the reference below, and this is just simple. Now, this is, if you look at this one, this is just show how email appears to work. Now, in a user send an email and the other person receives, so it looks that simple, but practically it doesn't work like that. So what happens is, the user sends an email, okay, like I am a user. MUA means mail user agent. And he's anybody using any email client like Outlook Express or MS Outlook or the webmail. So once he sends an email to somebody else, or for using his company mail server, okay, or any other email provider. So what happens is, once I send an email, the server, my sender email server, it will go to my email server. It will be in the queue. Then the email server will try to deliver it as soon as possible using DNS. So it will go to internet. It is actually already connected to internet. So it will look for other companies' domain. Okay, other companies' domain will have its own controls for spams and other stuff. So it will receive that email. It will do its own checks. Then it will give to the internal mail server, and from then it will go to the next user mailbox. So to make it simple, let's say I send an email from my company, my like Gispp.org. I send an email. So Gispp.org has an email server which will I send to my Gmail. So it will look for, it says which servers are responsible for gmail.com. Once it identifies those servers, it will connect them directly, and it will say this is an email from Subhani to Shahzad to his Gmail account, and this is my address. Now, if my Gmail account is working fine, Gmail server say, okay, we accept this. Please give this email to us. They will receive the email. They will do all their checks. Now, for example, if the email is big than a certain size, maybe the Gmail server say, no, we will not accept this email because this is bigger than our size. Or they can say that this email is not, or this user mailbox is full, so we cannot accept that email for him. Based on that, they will accept or reject. Once they accept it, I can see it in my Gmail. So you do a test, send yourself an email, okay, from Gmail to Hotmail and others, and then you can identify, you can see how much time it takes and what happens. So go to the next one. Okay, protocols and ports and key terms. Now this is very important. Now if you are a fresh graduate and if you are still studying, this is something very useful for you, because this is basic information about what protocols and ports are used, and it can become an interview question also. So SMTP stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. Its port is used 25. SMTP was initially defined in an RFC 821. Now 821, it came like in 1982. It was later revoked by an updated RFC, which was 2821. I have given the link here. You can even Google about it. You can find it easily. So based on this, this one, This was like in 82, it's long back, but still, as of now, the whole world is still using the same port 25 because it's very common knowledge and very common use. Then there's SMTPS, which is SMTP secure. In this, SMTP is made secure by using TLS or SSL, and the port is different 567. However, it is not over widely used. We'll talk about it later because once we have this TLS, so now we're using TLS and we don't have to bother about the ports. Okay, TLS is used to send email securely between two servers by issuing start TLS command. Now, what is when I say securely? Securely always means encrypted in the terms of information security or email security. So both servers, they have certificates. They exchange the certificates, and using those certificates, they encrypt the email. Otherwise, if you do not use TLS, and if somebody can put a sniffer in between the two servers, he can get a copy of all the emails going through. So this is a necessary risk, which is people are okay to accept it. And but now many companies, many organizations, many banks, they prefer to communicate with each other with the using TLS. However, because TLS is, since it is resource intensive, it needs extra processing power. So it's not a very common for every email. Now, two more terms, MTA. MTA is a very common term. You will hear it a lot. It's called mail transfer agent. It's the email server, or it is the email gateway. Any listener which is using to send or receive email. Then MUA, mail user agent. It is a client which you are using at your end to receive or send email. Like it could be Outlook Express, it could be MS Outlook, it could be Thunderbird, anything else, whatever you are using. Most common are these. And sometimes on every mobile you have an email client, which is this is MUA. SMTP response codes, very interesting topic. This one, it's very important to understand what is the response code. These codes are used between the two servers to communicate or talk with each other. Because the servers, they do not talk English, they understand each other using certain language and certain codes. Now, if in your organization, if a user complains to you that I send an email to this guy and it is not being delivered, please check what is happening. So what you have to do, you have to go to the email gateway and look at the logs. Look at the response code. So normally the response codes are 220 means SMTP service ready. I will show you this one later. 221 service closing, 250 requested action taken and completed. 421, some you may receive 421 in this case, what I mentioned before. The user is not able to send. So what happens is the other server, it will say 421, it says service is not available, please try later. Okay, please I'll try after some time. And in some rare cases, it may say 500 something, 501, 500, 502. It can say that I didn't understand the command you sent. So that could be a compatibility issue between the two mail servers. It's not very common these days. It used to be common like maybe a long time ago because many people, many new software was coming and some of them were not following the proper protocol. So then there was issues, but now everybody knows and everything is very smooth these days. So we will not be able to see much of these errors, but yes, you might see 550. 550 is a very good one. It's say no such user here or user mailbox not available. Think about an employee which left the organization, but he subscribed to many spam websites or many mailing groups and all that. Now they will keep sending email to him because he did not change his address. So, but if you remove his account from your Active Directory or from your email gateway, then any emails coming from him will be rejected right away and with the same message, no such user here or no mailbox not available. So this is a good thing. So always on your email gateways, always make sure that you are checking this one, that not to accept emails for users who left the organization or invalid users. Okay. This session is small. This is only a specific thing. So maybe later we'll talk about more about what controls you can else put on your email gateway. This is very important. SMTP related DNS records. Now, there are certain types of records. One is called MX record. MX means mail exchange. MX record is a record which is created to show which server will receive emails for an organization. Now, this is also I will show you after in a short while. Then there is MS record priority. This is very important. Normally, if you go and check the MS record, you will see some record priorities also. So 0, 5, 10, 1, 2, whatever. So normally, the smaller it is, the higher the priority is. Like if a company has two MX records, if MX is 0, it is on higher priority compared to the one which is 5 or 10. SPF record. SPF record is very important. It's a DNS record which will show which IP addresses are authorized to send email on an organization's behalf. What does we will do a detailed one on in the future lesson, but this is just to give an idea. In SPF means a company will say to the world that these are the 2 servers or 4 servers or 5 servers or 10 servers which can send email on my behalf. If you receive email from any other IP which is not mentioned here, then it is not from me. It wasn't me. So this is very interesting actually. So just Google about it, check about it, and we will talk more in some next session. DKIM, domain keys identified email. These days you will hear these 3 words a lot: SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. So DKIM is what? DKIM is actually digitally signing all the outgoing emails with a private key to ensure that email is actually sent by the sender domain itself, not spoof one. Okay, so that's like again, if I for example somebody is spoofing me, you cannot have my same key what I'm using because my key is with me only, my domain. So this is also a very good check. And then we say DMARC. DMARC is a combination of it is actually using both of them, SPF and DKIM, and it is like a complete protocol which is called domain-based message authentication, reporting, and confirmers. So it's an email authentication policy and reporting protocol. And what happens is this will say interesting. We'll talk about this later, but normally it's actually companies actually dictating its policy saying that if an email is coming from my side and SPF is not matching, DKIM is not matching, then it's not me. And then you should contain that email. You should reject that email. You should do whatever you want, but it is not me. But in some cases, they can say, okay, if SPF is not matching, this is not matching, no problem. You can still accept the email, which is normally it is done in the initial stage. But after a while, the companies normally go for the quarantine option. So this is a typical email scenario. So now we talk about typical email scenario. This scenario I took it from the RFC itself just to give you an idea, but I'll show you something similar to this also later. Now this SMTP example, it actually shows, like for example, what he's trying to do. He's trying to send an email to 3 people, okay, in a company, okay, and he's saying that okay, 2 people are still working there, but 1 guy doesn't have a mailbox there. So see what will happen. First, the server sends a response. It says the service is ready. Then client will say hello. Hello is actually extended hello to this domain. Then it will say, okay, you are welcome, and I support these extensions. There are 2 types of hello, which is hello and hello. Hello is extended hello, it's based on SMTP protocol, and it actually gives you a bit more flexibility. But why? How? You can announce what kind of things you support. You can say I support 8-bit MIME, I check size, I support DSNs. DSNs is about delivery status notifications, and I also support help. So it actually the server announces that I support all these. So what happens on this one? It's a very good thing. Normally, if you do not support size before, like if you're using SMTP and you do not do hello and you do hello, what will happen? Let's say the server is configured to do not accept emails more than 5 MB. And you start sending email. Once it reaches 5 MB and the email exceeds 5 MB, then it will reject you. But only after you transfer 5 MB. So it chooses the bandwidth. Now, but if you use hello, that size option will be discussed at the beginning. You say, I have an email for more than 5 MB, and you say, no, I don't accept that. Okay, so it is saving a lot of bandwidth and saving a lot of efforts from both sides. Anyways, this is just to, you can dig more on this one. Now, the client will say mail from Smith. He says, okay, accept it. It will say, please give it to Jones. Which is okay. please give it to green. It will say, oh, there is no green here. Then it will say, give it to brown, and brown is also there. So it will accept for that one. So this is just an example. And just to show you quickly, I have it already in my here. You can see this is from the RFs itself. You can go find it. You can just Google and you can find it. So then this is mentioned here, a typical SMTP scenario. This is I have taken it from here. So, and we'll show you more about this one. Let's go back to my slide. Now we'll do a quick demonstration of DNS records. Okay, we'll go to this website called mxtoolbox.com. Okay, here we go. Now I will show you for my own domain, for example. Let's try a different domain. I will say gispp.org. I will say I want to do Nslookup. It will show me, okay, you can see email using stack mail, and this is the IP address, and then I can do a SMTP test. Let's check for somebody else, like CNN.com. So CNN.com, it gives us two addresses, and look at the right side, the preferences. This is what I was talking about. This is MX preference. 1010 means both have equal priority. So whenever CNN server email sent to them, it will send to either this or that. So both will be accepted. And the TTL, time to live, is 5 minutes. It means if they change the IP, the old record will be active for 5 minutes, then it will be gone. Now, here, just let's check something called SMTP test. See, this is the banner. Once you connect, you get this banner immediately. This means that it says my service is ready. You can here. Then based on this, as MX Toolbox is doing an analysis, it says SMTP reverse DNS is mismatched. This is okay because the IP matches exactly to this host name. Host name is valid, banner is valid, TLS is supposed TLS, its connection time is good, it's not open relay, and the task time is good. Now, how it will know all of that? Let's see here below. It tries to connect, server got a response, then it does hello. Remember, I said hello or hello. It says okay, make it welcome, and they say pleased to meet you. Even they added like a flavor. Then I say I announce I support this enhanced status code. I support pipelining. I support with mine, and I support TLS. Then the MX Toolbox super tool, it try to say send an email to somebody else which is not there. So it says, oh, the link denied. I cannot accept this one because this is against. I'm not supporting this. I'm not receiving email for this domain, which is MX Toolbox SMTP.com. So based on this, it mentions here which is called open, not an open relay. Now this is very interesting. Actually, in the past 10, 15, 20 years ago, most servers were not that secure. So they did not even know how to, they were open SMTP server and people were using them. People were, like for example, abc.com, he was using xyz.com server to send email to 123.com. So like it was, they were not protecting themselves. So they were checking like this. So we just have a quick overview of this one. What else we can do? Okay, here, this is a very interesting actually. Now, if you go here to Super Tool, you will see a lot more options here. So same thing, I go to CNN.com. Now, I don't do a mistake. I will do here SPF. So this is an SPF statement, and then below they explain it. Okay, so they are saying all this is included also here. Then again it says SPF record is found, note application credit records found, less than 2 records found. Okay, so it's all explained here. But for some people, they will not understand all of this because the MX Toolbox does not give you very much detail here. So there's another link which is very good about this part. So let's do a Google. So I don't want you to remember the URLs, but say SPF record checker. And you get this guy, a very good guy here, CNN.com. Just say I'm not a robot. You're not a robot, definitely. Validate DNS. There you go. So now, same thing. See the result difference. Gives you some options where actually you have to go click on each of them to go further. You have to click here to see inside. You have to click, but here it expanded all of them. So there's no problem. It mentions all the IP addresses. Now if you look here, you can see all the IP addresses from where you are expecting the email. So now if you're facing a problem getting email from CNN.com, you can see the IP address and you can see if it is mentioned here or not. There are subnets actually, so there are more than one IPs, but I think you can know this one. Let's pick some other domain. I will say my own domain, gispp.org. I'm not a robot again. Validate. Okay, see, all these IP addresses you can send email on my behalf because I'm using StackMail. So this is my MX record and this is IPs you can send on my behalf. So let's try something else. Now you may receive an email from Gmail, okay, and it might be fake. So how you can know? You can see all the IPs which belong to Gmail. Any email coming from an IP which is not mentioned here, it means the SPF is failed. Normally, the email gateway you are using is very strong in this regard that can immediately tell you that this is not right. This is something is wrong with this. SPF is failing. It's not able to validate the SPF. So now we know SPF. Okay. Similarly, here we go back again. Now we can also check something here called DMARC. To put again the domain CNN.com. Okay. So again, it mentioned. Now they are very clear here. They say if it is not matched, if the DMARC test is failed, you should reject the email straight away. That's the spirit. So CNN is very straightway say if you receive an email from CNN.com which fails the DMARC test, you can reject that email. What does Gmail say? Let's see. No, Gmail does not say. It says none. It says do not do anything. Up to you. This is your choice. You want to do it. Otherwise, we are not saying as specific. This is not actually cool. This is not good. But anyways, this is how they are doing it, and people can still decide how they want to act it. Like I can make my own policy. I can say if the SPF fails, DKIM fails, I will quarantine the email, even if it is coming from Gmail. That is fine with me. Okay, so I think now you got some idea. Now I will do one more thing. I will show you how to do a telnet using command. Okay, now I open a command. I will say telnet. Let's see who should I telnet. Remember we have something. Go back again. Let's go to CNN. I will do my own address. .org and I do the MX. Okay. So first of all, what I will do, I will not tell. I will show you how to do the same thing with the command. Nslookup. I'll say set q is equal to mx. I will say gispp.org. It gives me the IP host name. I'll say exit and I'll say telnet mx.stackmail.com on 25. See, 25 is not okay. So I say telnet is not there. Oh, the problem. So what to do? Let's have it show you this one. And just say telnet here and it also turn on Windows switcher on and off. And here you will find something called telnet client. I'll say okay. Take a while. We'll do a Telnet now, and then I run the command, check it out. See, this is the welcome. Now you can see it's not able to understand my command, so I will try something. Okay. Let's try something. Now we're not sure how it is working, so I will try here. I'll do SMTP test with this guy and I'll see how it responds. It does support EHL, so I don't know why it's doing like this. Let's try again. Okay, so I just put a wrong IP host name and it accepted it. So then I will say mail from well, the telnet, the issue is the problem is if you make a typing mistake, there's a problem here. So I have to type it again. Now see, very interesting that I'm getting the protocol errors. So we'll just stop again. Let's check again how this works on this one. So actually, I did not try this before. I'm not like before the sessions. I was just trying with this on my own setup first time. So no problem. We'll try again. Okay, I got it. I got it. It's my fault. Again. Sorry again. I have to put this practice actually. See, because I'm doing with Telnet, so that's why. Otherwise, if you do from a proper email solution, it will not have these issues. So we'll do it again. See, so you should never lose hope. Now this email will not go through most probably because I'm not Gmail. So SPF will be failing. The typing mistake. Let's see what happens. We'll try again. Accepted. Then I will say data. Oh, I have to put it here. Okay. Then I will say this is just our test message. Then enter. Okay, now see, mashallah, it says could not accept message. It contains too many spam like characteristics. No problem. So I will say exit. And I'm out of it. So, but normally it can also work. It's not, but you just need to what normally normally I do. I just keep things ready on the site, so I don't have to type them again. So now at least you know how to send an email with command Telnet. Okay, if you want, let's see. We'll try one more time. Now this time I'll keep everything ready here. Just copy paste, so we just have less effort. Then I will say keep capital everything. So because I'm not sure if it will accept it or not, but we'll just better and put here. And we remove this. And use this copy. Okay, then I will do RCPT 2. And I will say data. And I will say this is just a test message. Enter. So again, it is blocking. So it's a pretty good server, so it has some control. So we'll leave it for now and we'll go back. So I hope this is good. At least you can try with different servers. It's not a crime, so you can try with any server. Not a big deal. You are just trying to send an email. Okay. So we went to the MS Toolbox website. We saw the SPF record checker, and we also saw the Nslookup commands. In the Nslookup, as I showed you before, you can do a set q equal to mx, and you can check for mx record, and you can actually just to do it a bit more. Let's do it again. Nslookup set q is equal to all. Now put here. Let's say I put here org. Okay. So you can see the A record and the other record. Let's put CNN.com so you get good data. See here, you can see all the records for CNN, and you see a lot of records of CNN actually. See here. At least so many. We need to do it again, and I will say more. More not working this one. Okay, so here you see gives so many answers. Say there's some text records like this. See, this is the DKIM keys. different DKIMs. The TN keys are there, the test records. Then we will see other stuff. So there's a lot. Let's do the same thing for Gmail. I'm very happy to see. So Gmail gives you this, all of that, MS preferences, name server, and all that. Now, if I say set q is equal to txt, then I say gmail.com. Now it gives me a SPF record. So I hope this is good knowledge for you. I put my own. You can see I put cnn.com. You can see this. I hope this is good information, and you have me. If you knew about it, so that is good. If you did not, now you know at least. So here we go. So we finish all these things. Now we go to the next one. The next lecture, I will try to talk about these topics. If you want to add any more topic, you can mention in the comment section. And okay, we'll talk about email attacks types. We'll talk about email relaying, email spoofing, and email header analysis. Where I will open an email and show you what different header means. Okay, say you.